North Korea, can rocket science save the world from fire and fury? Tough talk travels fast when fury is fired back and forth between Washington and Pyongyang, and speed now matters more than ever. Rocket science may well be left to do what diplomacy has been incapable of, pulling two reckless personalities back from the brink of war. By North Korea's boastful reckoning, its Hwasong-12 missiles will take just 1,065 seconds to complete their 3,356 kilometers flight over Japan before splashing down in waters off the coast of Guam. If correct, and if the US allows the missiles to launch in the first place, that leaves 17 minutes for tracking stations on land and sea, including the Pine Gap facility near Alice Springs, to calculate, target and try to destroy the missiles. The United States and its North Asian allies monitor and measure all North Korean missile tests but have traditionally not attempted to fire them down for two key reasons. Each flight reveals valuable data about the Kim regime's progress in ballistic development, and shooting one down would only add to what analysts in the pre-Trump era used to call the risk of miscalculation. It is a quaint notion these days because every presidential statement seems carefully calculated to risk calamity. Coupled with Kim Jong-un's outrageous capacity for hyperbole, is it any wonder that the world is watching what Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull calls the most dangerous flashpoint on the planet? With Donald Trump's every utterance, the chances of the next test near Guam being left militarily unanswered are dangerously diminished. As Commander-in-Chief, Mr. Trump can rely on a menu of Pentagon plans to either prevent or retaliate to any missile tests near U.S. territory in the Pacific. There are many of them and some are drilled regularly in Guam. The outpost is home to vast U.S. military assets at Andersen Air Base and in Apri Harbor, and an installation of the THAAD missile shield system is reportedly a fixture there. As a last line of defense, military analysts believe the system stands a better chance of targeting an incoming missile later in its flight than in earlier phases. But U.S. plans do not rely on that alone. Many more attempts at intercepts can be made from Japan or ships beneath the flight path before the missile splashes down at a threatened distance of 30 to 40 kilometers off the coast of Guam. If conflict is to come, the only certainty is that Australia will be drawn in. It is a measure of the desperate stakes involved that the Prime Minister has uniquely offered a preemptive declaration of military support under the ANZUS alliance, without knowing what form any conflict may take or what risks are involved. While the Greens have likened Mr. Turnbull's joined-at-the-hip commitment to painting a target on Australia, defence officials are under no illusion that Australia would already be a target, albeit of a lower order, especially if the Kim regime knew of Pine Gap's significance. Besides, the government argues that if the tables were turned and North Korea was threatening to test fire missiles off Darwin, this country would inevitably plead with Washington to pledge its support in advance. Australians can only hope that some sanity will prevail before the Trump administration comes asking for help in the immediate crisis. By the Prime Minister's own assessment, the consequences of a conflict on the Korean Peninsula are shocking. It would result in enormous casualties, enormous loss. Implicitly, the U.S. president is prepared to put the lives of American servicemen and women on the line to control the dictator's excesses. Explicitly, members of the Australian Defence Force are now on notice that theirs may be as well.